Oh, you haven't had enough of me yet, so I'll keep going. So, as Rod mentioned before, I wear a few different hats. I work as a GP. I like getting involved in this sort of preventative medicine stuff. But another interest of mine is sport, and with that comes sports medicine. So, one of my roles is having the privilege to work with some really upstanding young men who, go through a lot day to day. People often don't realise when you're looking from the outside in. So I work with the Melbourne Demons as one of the doctors there, and we're lucky enough to have one of the athletes from the team to give up some of his time on his weekend. I mean, they don't get many weekends off, but to come in and talk about some of his experiences with the low carb diet and sports performance. So we've got Tom McDonald here. So Tom, if you can come up to the stage. So Tom's played 4 seasons. Give him a round. So Tom's played about 4 years with the Demons. He plays mainly as a defender, and look, his game's going from strength to strength, and he's had an interesting journey with LCHF and this way of eating over the last recent time. So I'm just going to ask him a few questions, and we're going to have a bit of an informal chat about some of these things. So enjoy. So is that on? Can you hear me? All right. Okay. So welcome, Tom. Thank you. Thanks for coming down. So firstly, I'd probably want to ask, what was your diet or your perspective on nutrition like before you made any changes? What was your typical diet as an athlete?
Mine was probably what you'd expect if you read the pyramid as it's portrayed, but even probably to a greater extent. As an athlete, you're always told to carbohydrate load if you're in a sport that's lasting more than 90 minutes, which football is. It's 2 hours plus of running, and you're running 15 to 16 kilometres in a game. So midweek I'd have more of a balanced diet, but as I got close to the weekend, it was a bread, pasta, potato overload pretty much, and didn't have any issues playing. I didn't have any health issues. I'm tall and skinny and wasn't gaining fat or anything like that, so I thought I was doing everything right. But I always had it was not sick, but felt bloated going into games, and I thought something's not quite right. That was my perspective up until probably this time last year when I started to think about it a bit differently. I thought maybe there's another option.
Great, and that's often that's often a common theme with our athletes. A lot of them don't have any problems, but just have this underlying feeling that something's not quite right, often gut issues. So, what was your first experience about LCHF or paleo or primal or whatever label you want to put at it? How did you first hear about it?
My girlfriend was nagging me to try it.
Another common theme, sorry.
She works at Lululemon. They specialise in a lot of the women's yoga sort of stuff, and they're right into lifestyle and promoting a lifestyle for their employees as well. So she came home and said the girls were trying this out, more paleo rather than low carb. And she said, "Oh, can we try?" I said, "No, get stuff. It's not going to work. We can't sacrifice." I was legit. I said, "I cannot do that at all. I can't play football doing that." And I don't know what changed, but a couple of months later, I get a bit inquisitive about these sort of things. So I spent a few hours on the internet reading and came across a story about, I think it was an NFL player, and it sort of sparked my interest about maybe this could work, and thought maybe I'll play around. I don't know if you were at the club, you would have been at the club by then, and I approached you about it, and we just had a bit of a chat and thought maybe this could work for me and give it a go.
So, and then how did you go about it? What changes did you make?
I did it really poorly to start with as an athlete. I took all the information for what you would give someone who would be morbidly obese and cut out, and I was still a bit fat phobic then as well. I went to that salad slide you had, so I'd have the leanest cut of meat I could with salad and vegetables, and I did that right in the middle of pre-season in our hardest phase when we're running 50 plus kilometres a week and doing 4 weight sessions and 2 boxing sessions and a bike in 6 days, and I lost 3 or 4 kilos in 2 weeks, which as an athlete it's a bit of a shock. it's great if you're overweight, but it wasn't what I was looking for as a skinny guy who was trying to put on strength. And I really found that over that first couple of months, I lost that. I was feeling good running, was running as well as I ever had, but I really lost that snap in the gym and the really explosive movements, and I was just feeling a bit lethargic in those exercises. I felt great day to day. I felt like I had more energy, but I thought maybe I'm not doing this quite right, and so that's when I spoke to you and spoke to a couple other people that maybe there's a few things I can change.
And what tweaks did you make since then?
I got rid of being scared about eating the fat on meat, and I'm still not up to eating liver and stuff like that yet, but maybe in the future. But yeah, I just I added more fat into the diet, and I have added more. I wouldn't call myself a low carb diet as much as I wouldn't be under 50 to 100 grams a day, but I've just found that I perform better when I'm not at 300, but I'm probably between 100 to 200 maybe. I don't measure, but I wouldn't be what I used to be anywhere near it, and I get all my carbs from sweet potato, banana, those sort of food sources rather than pasta and bread.
So just give us a rundown on what your typical nutrition template looks like from day to day or a typical week.
Okay, we're doing pre-season now, so I'll sort of talk about what we're doing now. We have 3 really heavy training days, which are Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and 2 moderate days on the Tuesday, Thursday. I would have most days for breakfast it'll be something along the lines of bacon, sausage, eggs, and on most days, and if it's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning when I know we've got a lot of running and training coming up, I may add some baked sweet potato in that morning, plus the night before those days, so the Sunday night, the Tuesday night, the Thursday night. I find that that's my version of carb loading, even though it's not really, it's probably not a lot of carbs at all, considering what I used to have. But I've just found that's allowed me to still feel good, training, playing, without having a bloated feeling and being able to maintain my weight at the same time, and that's been really important for me because, as I said, I'm pretty tall and skinny, and to play my position, I'm playing with some pretty big guys and need to be strong.
So you feel like you've been going okay this pre-season?
Yeah, I feel really good this pre. I think I haven't perfected it, and I don't think you ever will. But compared to what I was doing 9 months ago, I think it's working a lot better.
What about during the season, during games? How did that go?
Well, during the season, your energy demands are a lot lower than in pre-season because we're all about getting ready for the one day and the weekend. So I probably use more low carb from the Monday to Thursday and increase around our main training session, which is a Thursday, and then to the game, which is either a Saturday or a Sunday usually. But it's the same principles, it's the same type of foods. It might be for dinner. Who knows what spot? Everyone knows what spot bar is. It's the we make like a homemade version at home where we'll bake some sweet potato and we'll make like a meat bolognese sauce and have some chopped up vegetables and mozzarella cheese on top. And that's usually my night before dinner. And then for dessert, I might make some almond butter and banana pancakes with blueberries and my favourite double thick cream, whatever it is. So that's usually the night before meal.
Sounds good, doesn't it? And what challenges have you faced? Like, how hard is it to go out and eat this way? And what are some of the other challenges you've faced with this?
I'm not, as you said before, I don't get caught up on the going out sort of thing. And if we're going out to dinner, my girlfriend will do anything to have a pasta. So we'll have our night every fortnight where we'll go out and she'll have a pasta. And pasta's not my thing. I might have something like a chicken parma and chips. And we'll do that once a fortnight. And I don't feel guilty about it and enjoy it. And, I don't like to be super strict, especially if I'm going to someone's house. I'm not going to ask them to make something for me. As you said, I just make the best decision. If there's something that I really don't want to have or can't have based on the timing of the week, I just won't have that thing.
So overall, you find it pretty easy, would you say?
It's easy once it took me a bit of time to get used to it, especially from the athlete's point of view. I find it easy now, but yeah, it did take a bit of tweaking to get used to it.
So what advice would you have for any other athletes, whether they're beginners or amateurs or elite athletes, that want to try something like this? What would you advise them based on some of your experiences?
I wouldn't go into it during the season 100%. I'd find a time, preferably the off-season, which our club has, it's been recommended to players to give it a shot and do it in a time when peak performance isn't necessary because I sort of drop off for 2 or 3 weeks of my performance, probably longer until I started to work through it. And I'd really just ask them to give it a try and really experiment, see what works. Don't stress too much if things go backwards for a couple of weeks, as long as it's maybe not, I wouldn't do it before grand final week. But yeah, find a time.
Hopefully we have that problem this year.
Yeah, just give it a go and play around. But I found it really important. I'm a bit inquisitive. I like to think about what I'm doing and that sort of stuff. So I was quite proactive in reading books, and those books we showed before, and reading a few studies. So not all the guys in our team will do that, but they ask questions, they ask you questions, they come and ask me questions, and slowly we're getting to see a bit of a change.
What was the initial reaction from some of your players and around the club when they worked out or heard what you were doing?
They probably took the piss out of me a bit, really. They just thought that it was a bit silly and to start with, but I think they thought, maybe if it's going to work, why not give it a go? And if the club is actually behind it, it makes it easier. So we now have breakfast and lunch provided most days at the club, and that sort of takes away a lot of the guesswork for guys. They don't have to find out what to make for breakfast at home and what's good and bad to do, because they get an example of it every day and they can go home and make it themselves. So the club's starting to make it a lot easier this year.
Okay. Should we ask some questions from the audience now, or save that for later? Okay.
How to define goodness in diet? Your recovery, eventually your recovery after that.
It's impossible to answer correctly, I think. We did have one example where we're never going to know the answer, because how do I know? Because if I wasn't on the diet, would I have recovered exactly the same way or not? So we can never answer perfectly. But I had a calf tear mid-season, and we thought via the scan it could be 2 to 3 weeks missed, and I missed 1 week with it. That was when I was right in the middle of the diet, and again, it could have been 1 week either way or the other, but I do feel as though I do recover maybe a little bit quicker. It might be I'm able to train a day earlier at a higher intensity than what I was if I wasn't on it. But again, it's very hard to tell.
I realise it's a really trick question.
Yeah.
I used to be a foot trainer, and I introduced a few things that benefit the gut, diet, and that's along the same time.
Any others? One more?
Just following his next question about, what about the club dietitian prescription diet that I imagine is given to all the players, and then yours would be different to everyone else? Are you allowed to do it?
Yeah, so, that's, I guess I was a bit of the guinea pig this year, because I was the only one doing it through the season, who we knew of anyway, and the dietitian's now on board, and the whole club we've had presentations from Tim Noakes that came to the club and spoke to us and spoke about the benefits of it. And what percentage would you say of the team that has tried it this pre-season?
Probably say the majority of,
At least 3/4 of the list have taken up some principles.
yeah, in some way, and I think even if we could get some of them to not eat crap, just get rid of the junk food, that's a win anyway. So,
and the dietitian was part of she prescribed to me when I first got drafted. We need you to be eating this much carbohydrates the day before a game, and we're going to get it from fruit juice, bread, pasta. And I was saying, I wasn't gaining the weight that I really wanted to, and it wasn't working for me, and that's why we decided to change it and that sort of thing. But she's fully on board, and
she's very open-minded, and it's a collaboration rather than my idea versus someone else's idea. So it's a really good environment to try these things. So, we'll have more questions later before lunch with Tom, but can you guys thank him very much for his time?